Welcome back to the South Stands, a Buckeye football podcast by Ohio State fans for Ohio State fans. For the West Coast, I'm your host, Zach Moore. Today is Thursday, August 28th, 2025, and I'm very happy to be joined once again by fellow South Stands contributor, Paige Van Horn from Denver. PVH, how's it going, my friend?
Dude, it's going great. Happy to be on. We're on the precipice. It's going to be a long weekend. Nobody's really going to be working tomorrow. Everybody's en route to Columbus for the game, except us, which is odd. But yeah, man, let's do this.
And let me be one of the first to wish you an early happy birthday, my friend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Anybody? Yeah. 55 for those, on Saturday.
The double nickel this Saturday. Happy birthday, my friend.
The double nickel. I like that. I like that.
We are also joined by fellow contributor Chad Plummer from Cleveland. CP, what's the word from the 216?
What up, gentlemen? How are you? How are we doing? Everybody's great. It sounds like I am fantastic. Actually, I'm nervous as fuck, but it's all good. I can't wait. I'm so excited. This is crazy that it's already here, man.
It's already here. Yes, indeed. It is game week, fellas. In fact, 4 Big Ten teams, Rutgers, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Wisconsin, are in action tonight. But we, of course, are here to preview number 3, Ohio State's massive 2025 season opener against number 1 Texas in the Horseshoe this Saturday at noon Eastern on Fox. This is a rematch of last year's dramatic playoff semifinal, which the Buckeyes won 28-14 en route to the national championship. The Longhorns are number 1 in both the AP and coaches polls, and according to FanDuel, have the best odds to win the national championship at plus 550. But Ohio State, along with Georgia, is right behind them at plus 650. Now, despite that number 1 ranking, the line for this matchup is Ohio State minus 1.5. The over-under is 47.5. The line opened at Ohio State minus 3.5 and is now down to 1.5. So the Buckeyes are a slight favorite in this game. This will be the 5th meeting between these schools on the gridiron. This series is deadlocked at 2. The last time these schools played in Columbus was 20 years ago in 2005. Vince Young led the Longhorns to a 25-22 victory over the Buckeyes in that game on their way to the national championship. Man, I can't believe that was 20 years ago. Where does the time go? So, fellas, here's the program for the evening. We'll have a look at the Texas offense against the Ohio State defense. Then we'll flip it around and look at the Buckeye offense against the Longhorn defense. Then we'll fire up the Concernometer and get into some score predictions. And before I let you guys go, I'd like to have a look at the 2 other top 10 matchups happening in college football this weekend. All right, let's do it. Now, on offense, it's remarkable that Texas is a preseason number 1 when you consider Steve Sarkisian is replacing his starting quarterback, Quinn Ewers, 4 of 5 starters on the offensive line, including Kelvin Banks Jr., who was a top 10 pick, his 3 leading pass catchers from a year ago, including receiver Matthew Golden, who was also a first-round pick, and a first-team All-SEC tight end in Gunnar Helm, and his second leading rusher, Jaden Blue. You can count on one hand the number of programs that can absorb that many losses on offense and still be voted preseason number 1 by both major polls. Guys, before I get your takes on this side of the ball, I want to give you 3 players to watch for the Longhorns, and then I'm going to kick it to you for your takes. Of course, it all starts with quarterback Arch Manning, who in a reserve role last season appeared in 10 games, playing 233 snaps. Manning completed 68% of his passes for 939 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 2 picks. He also ran for another 4 touchdowns. It was a small sample size, guys, but Manning finished last season as the Longhorns' highest graded offensive player, according to PFF, with an overall grade of 88. Now, it is worth noting that Manning only played 10 snaps over the Longhorns' last 7 games of the 2024 season. So the bulk of those 233 snaps came against the dregs of the Longhorns' schedule last season. Sophomore receiver Ryan Wingo is another player to watch. Wingo was a 5-star prospect out of St. Louis in the 2024 class, according to 24/7 Sports. In a reserve role for the Longhorns last season, Wingo caught 29 passes for 472 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran for 100 yards on 5 carries. Wingo has track speed, guys, and he's a threat to score every time he touches the ball. He's a very dangerous player for them. Finally, running back Trey Wisner is another player to keep your eye on. Wisner was their leading rusher a year ago with 1,064 yards at 4.7 yards per carry and 5 rushing touchdowns. Now, he was not a big factor in the national semifinal game against the Buckeyes. The Silver Bullets held Wisner to only 46 yards on 17 carries in that game, but he's still a very good back, and Matt Patricia is going to need to account for him when he's on the field. CP, let me kick this to you. What will you be watching when the Longhorns have the ball against the Silver Bullets on Saturday?
Wow, man. I'm so excited. I mean, we have like our back seven is probably like one of the best in college football.
Agreed.
One of the things I'm like, and when you think about Sarkisian and their coaching staff, what do they like? Watch New England Patriots like fucking games like to film to get like study his defense.
Matt Patricia,
really knows,
yeah.
Like, yeah. So that's I think that's an advantage to us.
It's a good point.
The linebackers, everything I've heard about the linebackers, man, Sonny Styles, Reese, Peyton Pierce.
Yes.
It's just I'm super excited there. The defensive line, they need to step up. Hold up Eddie Houston, man. Hopefully he comes to play. One of the highly touted defensive linemen in the country. So I want to see that tomorrow. Kenyatta Jackson, I'm excited to see him too, man. We've been hearing a lot of good things about him.
Yes.
I just want to I don't want to get burnt on the big plays. I don't want to see help me out here, Davidson. I don't want to see him in the pass interference when he's getting beat.
Oh, Davidson Igbinosun, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see any of that bullshit. I mean, you know what? It's coming out like it's the first game. There's some of the guys, they've had playing time. But they really, they've been in the game, but they really haven't been, a lot of them, in this particular situation. Where you've got number one versus number two in front of 106,000 people like this, just freaking out. So it's going to be they're going to have a lot on their shoulders, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this defense looks.
All right, yeah, you make a good point about Matt Patricia and nobody really knowing what he's going to come out with in this game. He has zero track record as a college defensive coordinator. And to your point, CP, yeah, what did Texas do? Go back and watch old New England Patriots film. That could turn out to be a really big advantage for Ohio State. PVH, let me kick this to you. What are you going to be watching when the Longhorns have the ball against the Silver Bullets on Saturday?
Chad, do you remember where we were 20 years ago for the Ohio State-Texas game?
No, refresh my memory.
We were in Tim Gallagher's loft in New York City after.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'll never forget. You had a baseball bat in your hand, and after we lost that game, you whacked the couch 15 times. And Gallagher's like, "What the fuck are you doing to my couch?"
It was one of those. It was that kind of game for sure.
Yeah. Frustrating.
Oh my Lord, dude, that is hilarious.
Yeah. So, dude, it's funny. I was talking to Juan. He was driving to the airport with Josh. They're going to the game.
Nice.
And he's like, dude, we have one of the best one of the best defenses in the country. And I'm like, well, we think we do. And nobody knows anything about anybody. Nobody's played a snap yet. So clearly we're going to be, solid on defense. Clearly we know who the players are. As CP mentioned, right? Our back seven is going to be our strength. There's a little concern on the line. But I'm sort of, more macro. And I find the narrative, right? Oh, they, the national media, they're replacing both coordinators and Patricia, the dude, he was a defensive coordinator under Bill Belichick, right? So, and Belichick's a defensive-minded guy. And then he was a head coach in Detroit. I think the guy probably knows what he's doing. I mean, he might not have had the most successful time, right?
Right.
So, I just think he's probably going to, dial up some stuff. And I think with the IQ guys like Caleb Downs, that can just – man, if you're Patricia and the things that you can do with him, that try and confuse Arch as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And I think that is going to be sort of a fascinating chess match to watch. Between the coaching staffs on both sides, and then I'm fascinated to see Arch Manning, man, and what he can do and how we can potentially stop him. Clearly he's, a solid player. I think I want to talk about it a little bit more. but my God, man, like this is, not like playing South Missouri State in, wrap up time.
Right.
And he's got a lot of pressure on him. And I think if Patricia can kind of get in his, head a little bit and disguise what he's seeing, then that bodes well for us for sure.
This is interesting. The Longhorns, as I said, are breaking in 4 new starters on the offensive line. And actually, that unit is a little banged up right now. They're going to be down one of their better offensive linemen, Andre Kojo. Kojo was competing for the starting right tackle job before he suffered a season-ending injury in their training camp. The Texas insiders thought Kojo had a good chance of winning that job, or at the very least would have provided quality depth for them. Also, starting left tackle Trevor Gooseby was injured in their camp. Now, Steve Sarkisian said on Monday that Gooseby will play against the Buckeyes. I think it's a hand injury. He's going to wear a cast on his hand. But you have to wonder if that injury is going to limit his effectiveness on Saturday. So Phil Steele ranks the Texas offensive line 26th nationally. This was not an area of real strength to begin with, and now that unit is down a key player in Kojo, and their starting left tackle might not be 100% for this game. So to me, it seems like there could be a matchup advantage there for Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, Bo Atkinson, Edric Houston, and Caden McDonald. I'm also going to be very focused, like UCP, on the Ohio State linebackers against Arch Manning, the ball carrier. Manning's a load, boys. He's big, he's fast, he's drawn comparisons to Trevor Lawrence as a runner. And I think yards and points could come at a premium on Saturday. So I expect Sarkisian to lean heavily on Manning's legs to keep the chains moving in this game. I expect 12 to 15 carries at least for Manning on Saturday, guys. Now, I do think Ohio State, because of their linebackers, is uniquely equipped to handle Manning's athleticism. I mean, Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese, those guys go, 6'4", 230 themselves. They both run like gazelles. Styles even made Bruce Feldman's freaks list this offseason. I also think Caleb Downs will have a role to play in this particular matchup. Expect Downs to play a lot of snaps in the box near the line of scrimmage. So I think if Styles, Downs, and Reese can limit Manning as a runner, and the defensive line can take advantage of the Longhorns' inexperience up front to pressure him on passing downs, Buckeye's going to have a great chance to win this game. PVH, how about you? Anything else you'd like to say about this matchup on this side of the ball?
Yeah, did you happen to see that snippet, Jake Butt from Michigan? He's actually pretty legit.
Yeah, he's a good analyst for BTN.
Yeah, he's really
despite
good.
His Michigan roots.
Despite his lineage. He said that he thinks that our linebackers are the most athletic. And then he kind of paused, and then he's like, ever? And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, that is a bold statement.
But he's not saying they're the best ever, but I think his point was the athleticism. Yeah. And to your point of Arch, right, running the ball, right? Like, who's the spy, or do we have a spy? I don't know. Is it Downs? I mean, it could certainly be Reese. It could certainly be Styles, because they can run with him. Yeah. So you need guys with wheels. It's not like putting, like Zach Boren to, be the spy guy with
Tough Borland.
Tough Borland.
Oh, no. Yeah. Did not mention that name in the second podcast again.
Yeah. The other thought I had on the linebackers, too, is that with their size and athleticism, they're the type of players that Matt Patricia can use in the pass rush, right, to pressure the quarterback. In fact, Arvell Reese began his career at Ohio State as a defensive end, then moved into the linebacker room. But they both have that kind of size and athleticism. I'm reminded of one play that Sonny Styles had in the semifinal game against Texas last year, where he had a strip sack of Quinn Ewers. Now, Texas fell on the ball, but, man, he blew right past their tackle and sacked Ewers and stripped the ball loose. So I would expect Styles and Reese to be used in pass rush situations as well. They could be weapons there. All right, fellas, let's flip it around and have a look at the Texas defense. Now, on this side of the ball, Steve Sarkisian is also replacing a lot of good players, and nobody seems to be talking about this. Gone is Thorpe Award winner Jahdae Barron, who was drafted 20th overall by the Broncos. Star safety Andrew Makuba is also gone. Barron and Makuba had 10 interceptions between them for the Longhorns last season. Sarkisian is replacing his entire starting defensive line as well, including defensive tackles Alfred Collins and Vernon Broughton and edge Barron Sorrell. Despite those losses, though, 4 Texas defensive players made PFF's top 50 list for 2025, edge Colin Simmons Jr., linebacker Anthony Hill Jr., safety Michael Taff, and cornerback Malik Muhammad. So this is still a loaded Longhorn defense that presents serious problems at every level for the Buckeyes. I think Simmons Jr. is the player Buckeye fans really need to worry about. He won the Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year award last season. He led the Longhorns in sacks with 9. Anthony Hill Jr., also going to be a big problem for them. He led the Longhorns in tackles with 113. That included 8 sacks, by the way, so he can get after the passer. Hill Jr. was also a second-team All-SEC selection last season. Finally, safety Michael Taff, as I mentioned, very good safety, total ball hawk. He was second on the team in PBUs last season with 10. He's another player to watch on this Longhorn defense. CP, let me kick this to you. What are you going to be focused on when Ohio State has the ball against the Texas defense?
What I'm going to really be looking for is this O-line in the trenches, man.
Yes.
Those guys have just got like ball out, and they're gelling. Austin's look the balling out. I mean, there's a good unit, man. They just need to, let's avoid the costly mistakes.
Yes.
And you know what? Just take care of your assignment, man. Don't let Julian get too much pressure on him. But I'm excited about the backs too, man. I mean, Donaldson and people, they're both good backs. They're young, but I mean, they can ball, dude. They're tough kids. They're not afraid to get hit. And I'm feeling really good about Brian Hartline being up in the box, calling the plays.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I want it to truly. I hope it's like, we don't have Day getting involved at some point where no, I got to, you know what I mean? Let Hartline do his job. You know what I mean? Obviously, you've given him the confidence, you've given him the keys to that, that box up there. So let him do it. Obviously, if you didn't believe that he could do it, you wouldn't have made him the offensive coordinator. So
it's a big variable.
Big thing too.
Huge.
From offensive line and Hartline.
Yeah,
so.
Huge. No, those are really good points. The Hartline piece as well, right? As a first-time play caller. Huge component here, huge variable here for the Buckeyes. PVH, what are you going to be focused on when Ohio State has the ball against the Texas defense?
So I am on the exact other camp of pretty much everything you just said. And I love you, but so they're not going to air it out. They're going to run the ball up the middle. I think that's strength. That's our one area of strength. I mean, in how many years have we been this stoked on the depth of what we're bringing to the table to start the season with the offensive line?
Yeah.
They're going to try and run the ball, and they're going to try and run the ball up the middle. And that's going to accomplish a few different things. Number one, it's going to take some pressure off of Sane. And number two is it's going to take some pressure off of Hartline. I'm super concerned about that. And I think the reason why he got that job is because if we don't give him that job, the guy might not stick around forever. And, so I don't know how that all works out and the mechanics of that. But you got a guy like Patricia, right, who's got a wealth of experience, doing that job and then even the higher level job. But Hartline's never done this before. And God knows I am the biggest Hartline fan. And if it took $6 million to keep him the wide receivers coach, then do that. It kind of worries me, though, him calling the plays. I think my guess is Texas is going to sell out to stop Smith. He's going to be a non-factor in the first half. If we can run the ball, then I think we're going to see more Smith sort of play into the game plan into the third and fourth quarter. If I'm Julian Saint, my booby blanket is the new tight end, Max Black.
Max Clare, yeah.
He's going to be
good
open.
Call, I forgot, yeah.
Dude, and if you remember, against Texas last year, I think Smith only had one reception. They took him away. They
completely took him out of the game. Yeah, he had one reception for 3 or 4 yards.
So,
yeah.
It worked once. They're going to do it again. And so they're going to sell out to stop him. So then Claire, Innis, and Tate are going to be the key. Make it easy for Sayin. Don't overthink this and try and run the ball up the middle. And I think we could see some success there. Don't try and run on the edges, right? Like that guy's going to be, the top 5 draft pick next year.
Simmons Jr., and Anthony Hill Jr. Both the juniors are going to be a factor of stopping the run. Yeah.
So I think our one, kind of advantage is I love our offensive line, like in the trenches against their defensive line. And I think they're going to try to exploit that early. And if they don't, then they're going to have to adjust. But if I were them, that's what I would think I would do.
Yeah, Paige, we're in lockstep. I tend to agree with you. I mean, because not only will Julian Sain be making his first career start on Saturday, it's going to be the first time he'll take a snap in a college game with the outcome still in doubt. I mean, I really can't conceive of a tougher spot to be making your first career start than this game. I'm not saying he can't handle it. It's just it's a lot to shoulder a young quarterback making his first career start. But what gives me comfort, and you guys have just mentioned it, is the supporting cast around Sain, the offensive line in particular. I mean, the Buckeyes are returning 3 starters and their 6th man from the offensive line that led them on that glorious postseason run to the national title. Luke Montgomery, Tegra Shabola, and Carson Hinsman all return as starters on the interior. And then Austin Serveld, you mentioned him, CP, last season's 6th man, will move to left tackle. And Serveld had an amazing offseason, right? He was an Iron Buckeye. He was just named a captain. And, of course, we all know about Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Inniss, what they can do. They're the best trio receivers in the country. And you guys have already mentioned Max Clare, who I think will be a big, not just in this game, but I think over the next 4 or 5 games, as Julian Sain is getting his feet wet, he is going to be a huge security blanket. Claire will be for Sain. So, but even with that supporting cast and a head coach with an impeccable record developing young quarterbacks, I'm expecting some tough sledding for Sain in this game. PVH in particular, because I think they are going to sell out. Texas is to stop Jeremiah Smith. And I also believe, look, the Texas defense is just that good. They got a lot of fucking good players on that side of the ball. And the pressure of the moment on Sain in this big game really can't be overstated. And that's why I agree with you, PVH, and also CP, that the running backs could be a big factor in this game for the Buckeyes. Nobody really seems to be talking about them, actually.
Dude, I was just going to say, right? Nobody's talking about the running backs.
Yeah, they've been an afterthought during the camp, right? I mean, most of the attention's been around Smith and the quarterback competition, but I even think there's been more buzz about the offensive line and the tight ends than the running backs. I think Ohio State can get a combined 150, like 150 yards out of Peoples and Donaldson on Saturday. They win this game.
Oh.
Right?
Okay, hold on. So that was one of my questions. What is the over-under of what we need from the running backs to win this game? And
what do you think it is?
So I harken back to, I remember 2 years ago when we played Georgia, and I was like, if we can, and you're like, oh, it's going to be tough sledding. And we didn't get there. I think it's 100. I was going to make it 105.
Okay.
But that might be too low. But that was one of the things that I was thinking about. And you said, like, nobody's talking about our running backs. And
no.
I guess rightfully so, because nobody knows who they are. And actually, it escapes me right now what their names are.
Yeah, but James Peoples has 49. But Peoples has 49 career carries. And Bo Jackson, by the way, who many think is going to factor into the running game this season, has yet to play a single down at the college level. He's a true freshman. So C.J. Donaldson is really the only known commodity. He's the West Virginia transfer, PBH.
So to answer your question, I'd say 105.
105.
Okay, 115. 115.
Okay.
Julian Sain not.
I think that might be low.
Might be.
Yeah. What would you say? What would you set the over under in rushing yards for Ohio State to win this game, CP? Where would that be for you?
I think. I'd love for it to be 150.
That's where I am. I think 150 wins this football game for Ohio State. Because I do think they're going to do some things in the passing game. It's just, if you're expecting, the Rose Bowl version of Jeremiah Smith in this game or the Tennessee version, I do tend to agree with you, PVH, that they're going to sell out to really limit him. And that won't be the first time Jeremiah Smith sees that game plan, man. He's going to see that all season.
Yeah. So let me ask you both this. Are neither one of you concerned about Heartline? This is a big deal, man.
No, I am making no assumptions about Heartline, but I do, you do have Ryan Day right there. If he does need to step in and give guidance, but right. It's not Chip Kelly though. And Chip Kelly was a guy, Day didn't even have to worry about, right? I mean, Kelly was able to kind of just run that side of the ball without a ton of direction from Ryan Day. But no, I think that is a huge variable, PVA. I totally agree. It's a huge variable.
Yeah. What do you think? Well, Chad, you think he's going to be fine, but
I'm sure he's going to I think he's going to eventually it might just a new quarterback. You're going to or like whatever. I still believe that they're going to fucking wide open that field because they're going to fucking try to pull down Smith. And you've got Innes and Tate and that, like, you know, Max. And, like, I don't know how you stop it. And then, but I'm not really worried about his play calling, man. He's been around the program forever. And he's, like, right beside Days, like, been by his side for how, like, you know what I mean? For, like, last 4 years, 3 or whatever. So I don't feel like he's going to have a problem adjusting. I like that he's going to be in the box.
Yeah, you know, he's held the title co-offensive coordinator since 2023. Now, in practice, he's not been a play caller, but he has held the title co-offensive coordinator since 2023. I don't think this is like a Tim Beck, Ed Warner situation, right? The two dopes that got elevated as co-offensive coordinators back in 2016 after Tom Herman left. I don't think it's that, right? I don't think it's, some of the promotions Urban Meyer made during his stint in Columbus were highly questionable, including Beck and Warner. I don't think that's what we're looking at here in Heartline. Look, I mean, if we're being totally objective about it, it is a question mark at this stage. But there is that saying, right? It ain't about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmies and the Joes, and we got a lot of fucking Jimmies and Joes on this offense. So
but so do they. So do they.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Paige, I do like your point about like when's the last time we've been able to like have this much not I guess I don't want to say confidence because I don't want to overstate things, but how good we feel about the offensive line. I mean, it's been a long time, dude. It's been like a topic of things it's crazy. So
and that we were all giddy to that point. We were all giddy about that transfer that came in,
Ethan Onyanwa. Yeah.
And he might not even get the starting job. Yeah. He's not going to get the starting job.
Yeah, Philip Daniels, the other transfer who came in, it sounds like it's going to beat him out. But Onyanwa will give him quality depth. I mean, between those two players, exactly. Whoever wins the starting right tackle job, there'll be quality depth there. Speaking of the offensive line, I do like that Sain will be working with a veteran center and Carson Hinsman, right? That's huge when you got all.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, so I'm bullish on the offensive line as well. I think Ohio State has an advantage in this matchup, which I'll get to in a little bit. I think they do have the better offensive line in this matchup. All right, fellas, it's time to fire up the concernometer. CP, let me kick this to you to get us started. What is your level of concern for this game?
I'm going to go with the 8, man. I'm just,
Okay.
I'm just really I feel good about I feel about the team we're putting on the field. Okay. Would have I loved this to be a night game? Then my concern meter would probably be maybe between a 4 and a 5. But so it's just it's just part of me. It's I just want to win so bad, but it's
so an 8 for you.
I'm gonna go with an 8, man.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in a quicksand sandbox right now, so I'm I get it.
All right, 8 it is. PVH. What's your readout?
It's a 10. We're a solid 10. I mean, we're playing the number 1 team in the country. How is it on the first game of the season? Yeah. It's a 10. I do think they're evenly matched, but it's anything less than a 10 is kind of Looney Tunes, I mean, and we're going to get into some more intangibles, and I have some other thoughts on that, but solid fucking 10.
All right. Yeah, by my count, Ohio State has hosted 7 of what I would like to call marquee non-conference games in the regular season since 2005. So over the last 20 years. Notre Dame in 2022, Oregon in 2021. You guys were at that game. I was at the Notre Dame game. Oklahoma in 2017, Virginia Tech in 2014, Miami in 2010, USC in 2009, and Texas in 2005. Now, the Buckeyes were an AP top 5 team heading into 5 of those games. They were AP top 10 for the other 2. 6 of those 7 Buckeye squads went on to win 11 or more games. The 2009, 2014, and 2017 squads were Big Ten champs. And as we know, the 2014 team also won the national title. And yet, the Buckeyes lost 5 of those 7 marquee non-conference games in the horseshoe. Now, maybe the explanation is as simple as when you play good teams, sometimes you lose. Especially when those games are played right out of training camp and you're still working out a few kinks. You got a new quarterback, new offensive line, whatever the case may be. But I'm not sure that explains the 2009 loss to USC, the 2014 loss to Virginia Tech, or the 2021 loss to Oregon. I mean, the 09 Trojans and 2014 Hokies both finished those seasons unranked, and the 2021 Ducks would go on to lose 4 games and finish number 22 in the final AP poll. It's also worth noting that Steve Sarkisian's been really good in these kinds of games recently, guys. In a very similar situation last season, the Longhorns went on the road in week 2 and beat the defending national champs Michigan by 3 scores. And then 2 years ago, when they were still in the Big 12, Sarkisian took Texas into Tuscaloosa and beat the eventual SEC champs Alabama by 2 scores. That was Nick Saban's last team. So, I mean, look, over the last 2 decades, Ohio State has played really, really well in virtually every other moment, right? I mean, they've dominated in Big Ten play. They're a combined 7-0 in the Rose and Sugar Bowls over that span. They have 2 CFP national championships. They've played in another 3 national championship games. And they don't have anything resembling Michigan's embarrassing home loss to Appalachian State back in 2007 or Notre Dame's loss to Northern Illinois last year. But for whatever reason, the Buckeyes have really struggled in these early season marquee non-conference games in the Horseshoe over the last 20 years. And they're facing an opponent on Saturday that has been really good in these types of games lately. So, PBH, I'm with you, man. I don't see how your concern meter could be anywhere else than a 10 for this game, and that's certainly where mine is. Yeah. All right, fellas.
There was so much information in that, I almost forgot. Did he already give me the concernometer number or not? No, but dude, that was insane. I was just typing into chat. I was like, dude, just quit your day job and do this professionally. Because, holy cow, that's
a lot of information. Thanks for sticking with me on that.
No, but it's all relevant and germane to the topic at hand. It was fascinating. I was trying to write notes. I couldn't even keep up with it.
It's crazy. Yeah, just for whatever reason, in this moment, thing, right? it's been kind of a bugaboo for them. And also, this spans 3 different coaching regimes. So it's not just like one Ohio State coach who's had trouble winning these games. It goes all the way back to the Jim Tressel era. And the other thing I will point out, almost all of those marquee non-conference games were played at night. When supposedly the environment's a lot tougher on the opponent.
Dude, are you baiting me?
No. But I'm just saying, it's just weird. It's a weird thing. I'm not trying to troll you, PBH. All right, fellas, let's get down to brass tacks with some score predictions. Again, the line is Ohio State minus 1.5. The over/under is 47.5. CP, why don't you get us started with your score prediction?
All right, I'm going Ohio State 27, horns down 23.
27-23. Okay, PBH?
So I've been struggling with this, and I harken back to when we played them in the Cotton Bowl. I mean, it's a coin flip game, right?
Yep.
And if that game, if you think about it, came down to one drive, a final series, right? They had first and goal from the 2-yard line, but we backed them up to the 8-yard line. Came down to 4th down, came down to one play, and then one bounce. And that football bounced perfectly into Jack Sawyer's hands, and Ohio State won that game. I think it's going to be very similar. I mean, obviously, I'm going to take the Buckeyes. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the offenses are going to kind of struggle, kind of like they did last year. So I have the Buckeyes 21-18, but it's going to be a nail biter to the very, very end.
All right.
Wow,
so,
18 points is a very few amount of points for Archie Manning.
Well, okay, all right, well, go Zach, because I have a lot to say.
All right. So I give
Just kidding,
I give Arch Manning a slight edge in the experience department. 233 snaps last season compared to only 27 for Julian Sand. I also give Manning the edge in overall playmaking because of what he can do with his legs. Otherwise, he's in much the same boat as Julian Sand, making his first career start in a game of this magnitude. Only I think Sayan has the better supporting cast, as I've already illustrated, right? He's got the more experienced offensive line, and he's got much more proven playmakers at the skill position, starting with inarguably the best player in the country, Jeremiah Smith. Greg McElroy of ESPN thinks this game will feature the 2 best defenses in the country. He has Texas and Ohio State number 1 and number 2 in his defense ranking. So I don't know that either team has a distinct advantage in that area. Look, these are 2 Titans with 2 of the most talented rosters in the game. They're practically mirror images of one another. I don't see a distinct advantage for either team And this game will likely, as you've just mentioned, PVH, hinge on just one or two plays. A turnover, a missed tackle, a big play on special teams, whatever it is. I mean, as you noted, PVH, when these teams met in the semis last season, I guess you could say, in my view, the game hinged on two plays: the Trey Henderson 75-yard catch and run just before halftime, and then the Jack Sawyer scoop and score. It was really those two plays were the difference in the game, right? Ohio State wins by 14. Now, this is an Ohio State Homer podcast, so of course I'm picking the Buckeyes in a low-scoring defensive battle, 17-14. But this is a coin flip game, as you've mentioned, PVH. It could go either way. Now, the winner of this game is, of course, going to be the number one team in the country, obviously. The loser, though, probably doesn't drop out of the top five, but does lose a little bit of margin for error, and the remaining schedule for both of these teams is no cakewalk, fellas. Texas has to travel to number 15 Florida and number 5 Georgia. They play number 18 Oklahoma on a neutral field, and they host number 19 Texas A&M in their season finale. And the Buckeyes still have number 2 Penn State, number 12 Illinois, and number 14 Michigan on their schedule, in addition to a couple of other really challenging road tests at Washington and Wisconsin. PVH, let me kick this back to you. What are the thoughts you got about the score?
So, two things. If the national media set sports betting lines, it would be Texas, an 8-point favorite simply because of the name that kid has on the back of his jersey. Yeah. Right. And I'm not. It's funny because I was talking to Juan. He's driving to the airport to the game. He's like, I'm like, they're pretty even. He's like, well, I would take Arch, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. That's fair. If we could have Arch, fine, but it's not like Sane is a 1-star transfer from Akron, right? Neither one of them have done anything, and Vegas understands, right? And that's why this is pretty much a pick'em game. So the Arch mania, I think,
it's overblown.
It's overblown. And then here's my other X factor is that I think there's some pressure on Sark to win this game. And he's a great coach, and he's not getting run out. He's not on the hot seat. But on the other hand, he needs this more than Day does. And let's be honest, Day's now playing with some house money. So coach like it, right? And
that's right.
Got that monkey off our back. And it's like, oh yeah, remember like 4 years ago we got the Dabo Clemson monkey off our back. Now we got the big gorilla off our back, right? And so everybody's like, oh, they're going to have the hangover and it's so hard to repeat. Fuck you. Maybe all of the expectations have been lifted and we're going to play free and awesome and kick the shit out of them. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, right? It would not surprise me. I don't think so, but everyone just falls into these traps about, well, it's so hard to repeat. And I'm like, how about the fact that, we're good, baby. We just won the whole fucking thing. What did you do? You lost us.
All right, fellas. Let's have a peek at the two other top 10 matchups happening this weekend. They're both juicy matchups. Let's start with Saturday night. Number 9 LSU at number 4 Clemson. This is a 7:30 p.m. Eastern kick on ABC. The line is Clemson minus 4.5. The over/under is 57.5. This game will feature two Heisman favorites, an LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier and Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik. According to FanDuel, Nussmeier and Klubnik are tied for the second best odds behind Arch Manning to win the Heisman at plus 900. Dabo Swinney's team is coming off a 10-4 campaign last season in which they won the ACC and made the CFP. Clemson gave the Texas Longhorns a pretty good fight in the first round before falling 38-24 to the Longhorns in Austin. Now, Brian Kelly's squad is coming off what I'm sure most LSU fans would say was a disappointing 9-4 season. Kelly had the Tigers playing pretty well through the first half of the season. Tigers were 6-1 before collapsing in late October. LSU lost 3 straight, all by double digits, and that totally derailed their CFP hopes. The Tigers did manage to end the season on a high note, beating Baylor in the Texas Bowl. PVH, I'm going to kick this to you. Who do you like in this game?
You mean the insufferable coaches game? Our feelings for Dabo are well established. That Brian Kelly is right up there.
Yeah,
dude, that guy. Are they? They're playing in Clemson, or is it
at Clemson? Well, ironically, they're playing but both programs called their home stadiums Death Valley, but it's Clemson's Death Valley they're playing in. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Weirdly enough, I think I'm rooting for Dabo in this this game because Kelly just drives me crazy, and I love the fact that Notre Dame's actually better when he's gone. So I don't really. I mean, I haven't seen. Obviously, I know nothing about either one of the teams, but my fandom is going to go with Dabo on this, and I hope they take down the Tigers.
Okay, CP, who do you like in this game?
I'm going to go. I mean, it is hard. Like, just both the points we just made, Paige, about Dabo and Kelly. I mean,
they both suck.
The idiot who does the fake, like, Southern accent to that one guy. I mean, I just can't get that cringe moment out of my head. But, I mean, shit, dude, it's going to be tough for Clemson to go in there. But all I keep hearing about is this is one of the best teams he's had since, on both sides of the ball. Since,
yeah, there's a lot of love, a lot of buzz around Clemson. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of national love for this team. So, I mean, let's see it. I mean, LSU's supposed to be good as well on both sides of the ball. So I think it's going to be a great matchup. But I'm still gonna I can't no fucking way can I root for Dabo or say that. I'm gonna pick LSU.
All right, you're taking LSU. Okay, give me Clemson, and I think they cover. And I think you have to wonder then how much more time Brian Kelly has at LSU to get them to the fucking CFP. I mean, Kelly's making $10 million a year. And so far, all LSU has to show for it are wins in the Texas Bowl, ReliaQuest Bowl, and the Citrus Bowl. And it is ironic. I mean, Kelly left Notre Dame because he didn't think he could win at the highest level there. And so far, he hasn't even sniffed the CFP in Baton Rouge. Meanwhile, the Irish just played for a national title. All right, fellas. On Sunday night, number 6 Notre Dame, speaking of the Irish, travel to number 10 Miami. This is also a 7:30 p.m. Eastern kick on ABC. The line is Notre Dame minus 2.5. The over-under is 49.5. Now, Marcus Freeman returns 11 starters from an Irish squad that went 14-2 and played for the national title last season. Redshirt freshman C.J. Carr, the grandson of former Michigan head coach Lloyd Carr, was just named the starting quarterback for the Irish. Carr's going to have an excellent offensive line protecting him and a very good receiver in Jaden Greathouse at his disposal. Star running back Jeremiah Love, who ran for over 1,100 yards and 17 touchdowns last season, also returns for the Irish. The Hurricanes, meanwhile, returned 7 starters from a squad that went 10-3 last season. Now, an upset loss to Kyle McCord and the Syracuse Orange in their season finale kept the Hurricanes out of the ACC title game. The Canes finished the 2024 season 42-41 losers to Iowa State in the world-famous Pop-Tarts Bowl. Head coach Mario Cristobal hit the transfer portal very hard this offseason. The Canes finished number 3 in the 24/7 sports transfer rankings with 19 commits. That included Georgia quarterback Carson Beck and Rutgers star linebacker Mohamed Toure. I thought Beck was one of the more head-scratching transfers this season. I mean, no doubt a large sum of money must have been involved, but Beck is coming off a nasty elbow injury that he suffered in the SEC title game last season, but he's reportedly fully recovered from that and ready to lead the Hurricane offense in this game. PBH, let me kick this to you. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, the Beck thing I don't understand. And I was just I was thinking about how similar like the Marcus Freeman ascension to the coach of Notre Dame. It's kind of similar to Ryan Day, right? He'd never been a head coach before. Now, granted, there's some differences, right? And Freeman, after what I think 1 year or 2 years, gets that job, and yeah, he might have been over his skis for a little bit in the beginning, but dude, that guy's a great coach.
He's got it going there, man. Yeah.
Dude, he does. And he's only going to get better. And, I'm not saying, Notre Dame's going to win a championship in, whatever, the next 2-3 years. But I just think he is the perfect person for that program. I didn't understand, Carson Beck at Miami. Okay, fine. I love Notre Dame going down there, taking them out.
Okay. CP, how about you? Who do you like in this game?
I love Notre Dame. I mean, there's really much in this game here. Cristobal, man, they thought he was bringing him in from Oregon. It was going to turn the Canes around, man. Canes blow. I think they haven't been relevant since fucking Michael Irvin. So I mean,
well, they haven't been relevant since we beat their ass in 2002.
That's right.
They broke their will.
That's why okay, yeah. Right, exactly. So it's like I just don't know that they can find it back, and like I said, they're like Paige said, it's I think Marcus Freeman is a fucking really young, brilliant football mind, and I mean he's gonna be like go down as like a really, really, really good coach. So I think they're gonna go down to Miami and take care of business.
All right, I like it, CP. Yeah, to me the Hurricanes look like a team of mercenaries. And I'm not a big believer in Carson Beck either. I mean, Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey aren't walking through that door, boys. And Beck looked like Johnny Unitas when he had those two at Georgia. But without them last year, his completion percentage dipped 8 percentage points, and his yards per attempt dropped by almost 2 full yards. Now, I know the Irish are going to be starting a quarterback who has yet to take a snap in a college game, and they're on the road. But I, like you, PVH, I really like what Marcus Freeman is doing in South Bend right now. So I tend to think this might be close. But I like the Irish by a touchdown in this game.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. That was a nice effort. Why don't we end things there? For our listeners, look for a recap of the Texas game on Sunday from yours truly. Until then, thanks so much for listening, and go Bucks. You've been listening to The South Stands, a Buckeye football podcast. Follow us on X at South_Stands.